All right, let's talk about chop. These are some of the things that I had already in my pantry, so I'm going to include those. Sometimes I have to pivot just a little bit depending on what's in stock at the stores for my recipes, but I like to have kind of base things at home already available. I also had to substitute a few things. One of my biggest tips is to use the leafy greens in the bottom and put something heavier like these radishes in the top so that it weighs it down. That way it can chop it properly. Also, this Ninja chopper is the bomb. I mean, look at how effortless this is. Just a couple hits of the button and it's good to go on to the next batch. So I like to do this first, and I continue to put a heavier item on top of the leafy green so that it puts it down into the chopper and it chops it properly. So I just continue to do that along the way. I'm using a winter to spring type of seasonal feeding. But again, I did have to supplement a couple different items that were just not in stock at my store. I like to ensure that they have at least one leafy green and 2 of the orange type vegetables for that good vitamin A. I make sure not to add anything that gets really mushy or watery if I can at all help it. I've got the lentils cooking on the stove. I'm going to rinse them after they're thoroughly cooked and allowed to cool, and then I'm going to add them to the mix. But it's a must that they be cooked before you add any beans to your chop. So one of the substitutes I used this time were beets. And I cleaned the beets, used the leaves, and cut the beets into chunks for easier chopping. And it adds some cool color and something they haven't had recently. I'm adding dry quinoa, not cooked here, because that will help absorb some of that extra moisture. And then I'm also adding this breakfast bowl from Christine's Chop Shop for the oats. Adding some flaxseed, adding a little bit of chia seeds, and a little bit of turmeric. And of course, some added Mega A powder. Get that all in there. Next, we're going to mix all the ingredients together, add them to baggies, squeeze out as much air as possible, and get them sealed up and put in the freezer.